My problem is ignoring everything for looks. I will ignore every single red flag if you are a big, black, fine man with a beard.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Told you guys about Alicia from Ready to Love. We're going to break down her particular trailer and really get a little bit deeper than we did in the actual full review. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, and you click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, well, you got the minerals. You got the minerals. Alright, cool. Let's talk about it. So, Alicia, on the show, was speaking quite candidly about her preferences and what she likes. And I felt that some of it was problematic. But I wanted to look past the problematicness and actually go deeper underneath the layers of what she was saying but wasn't saying. So she mentioned a word, the fact that she had low self-esteem. So I wanted to break down self-esteem. It says here, self-esteem is how we value and perceive ourselves. It's based on our opinions and beliefs about ourselves, which can feel sometimes, Self-esteem is how we value and perceive ourselves. It's based on our opinions and beliefs about ourselves, which can feel sometimes really difficult to change. And so the thing about self-esteem here is that it's our value and perceived, as our perception about ourselves. And what she said is that her value and her perception of herself has changed. Okay, and it changed because she got a new body.
I was a bigger girl then, and I had low self-esteem. And since then, I've had a whole mommy makeover, and I feel amazing. And I vowed to myself that I would never.
Now, here's the thing about getting a new body. That doesn't mean the mind changes. You change the outer of the car, but the engine is still the same.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
You've got a Ferrari exterior, but the inside is a Honda. It don't make a difference. It's still not a Ferrari. Do you understand? So if the engine doesn't change, that's why the Bible says, renew your mind. Let your mind come into a new way of thinking. Okay? You're in the world, but not a part of it. Have a renewed mind. In the same way, self-esteem here requires a renewal of the mind. And if you don't feed it with the right information to change how it thinks, to change the synapses and what information goes into your brain to bring an output, you will behave exactly the same way. All that will happen is, yes, you've got a better body and the males are coming, but they don't see the full value in you because all they're seeing now is a sex object. And they're not seeing a woman who has value.
I am single because men only want to have sex or they want to marry you immediately.
Who's worthy of their time, who can give them the peace that they're requiring. You understand? So her self-esteem, although her physical outlet is gone and it's grown and it's got better, okay, and her self-esteem in terms of confidence when it comes to attracting a man, it's still not changing the fact that these men are not staying. They are now only wanting sex from you. Do you see the difference? So the self-esteem that you're talking about hasn't really changed. Because actually, the way you view men and the way you view relationships is conducive of that poor self-esteem in the first place. So the self-esteem that you had before previously, due to the fact you felt that you weren't pretty or maybe you felt like you was in shape or whatever, the mindset of it, that the subsets that come with it is still present because of the way that you perceive men. Okay, let's talk about it. She made a point that she'll never settle for a man anymore. Like basically she's not gonna, due to her self-esteem, she's not gonna settle to certain men.
And I vowed to myself that I would never settle for another man because I had low self-esteem.
Right? Because in the past, she was settling for certain men. Now that's a point. That's a good point. That's a good tip because actually what you've seen here is that you've recognized the men that I had in the past I was dealing with, yeah? They didn't respect my value, okay? I was choosing them because of the self-esteem that I had with myself. I had a low self-esteem. Okay, but the way that you're talking about relationships, how you want a more physical, the outer exterior, you're looking for that, and you're able to ignore red flags. That tells me actually that the men haven't changed. What has changed is the outer exterior of the men that are approaching you now and that you're accepting. So the douchebag who was now ugly, or I shouldn't say ugly, that was a 4 before, is now a douchebag that's a 6 or a 7 or 8, whatever you want to call it. So the douchebag hasn't stopped. It's just that he's got a better looking face. And so now it's now even confusing you even more. Because beforehand the douchebag was a certain level. Now the douchebag is even more good looking and you're confused. It's because internally the work hasn't been done. So the outer has been changed, but the inner hasn't. Okay? She said she's able to ignore red flags if you're, tall, dark, handsome, basically with a beard.
My problem is ignoring everything for looks. I will ignore every single red flag if you are a big, black, fine man with a beard.
Basically. That again speaks to the fact that your self-esteem hasn't changed because you're unable to identify that these are the type of guys I don't need. No. You see, self-esteem here, in fact, let me even leave self-esteem. Self-worth hasn't changed. The self-worth hasn't changed because actually you're still going after these guys that you're ignoring red flags for, which lets me know you haven't grown. Your perceived value in your outer appearance has grown, but you internally have not grown in worth. And so now you're going to attract what you're putting out there in some sense. Okay? And so the kind of guys that you're allowing to stay, because the guys that are coming, they're always going to come. Yeah? But you got a job to choose the right one. And so if you don't take value and pride in the internal work, not the fact that you're a boss girl, not the fact that you got money, not the fact you got a body, not the fact that you won't cook or clean for the man. No, and by the way, cooking and cleaning has got nothing to do with self-respect or self-esteem. But anyway, flow. If you're able to ignore red flags, it speaks more to you and about the fact that you don't value you, and that you put too much weight upon someone looking good. And it's almost like you're hoping that, okay, I'll get a jack in the box. I'll choose a really good looking guy and hopefully he won't be a dickhead.
I broke up with a guy before because we didn't look good in pictures. He was a little shorter. Every time I took a picture with him, I looked like his mom.
Yeah, but it's worth the risk because he's good looking. That's naivety and childish. And that speaks to the fact that's an inner child. And let me tell you where that comes from. When you're a kid and you're denied certain things. For instance, I never had much money when I was younger. And because of that, when I got older, I spent money a lot more on tracksuits and stuff like that. Because when I was a kid, everyone else had tracksuit, but I didn't. Yeah, everyone had the Nike, the Echo, the Adidas. Me too, I was here with 4-Stripe. I was dealing with Escort and Ascot and all them things there. I was dealing with brands that weren't really cool on quote unquote. So when I got older and I had a bit of money, I started spending my money on those kind of things. I'm a bit late by that time, right? I'm a bit late. Why? Because everyone else has had that phase already. I'm now what? Immature. Because now everyone's wearing suits and jeans and trousers. I'm now still trying to wear tracksuits. Do you see it? So deep it. And now I look immature at 20 plus years or whatever. If I want to go out and I want to wear jogging bottoms all the time and people are wearing jeans and stuff like that out, I wouldn't do that. I would wear jogging bottoms. Why? Because there's an immaturity there. Okay, nothing wrong with jogging bottoms. I'm just kind of giving an analogy. There's a lack of a maturity there because of what I didn't have in the past. I'm trying to make up for it. And the same thing here, I feel like I'm happening with Alicia. She's trying to make up for the fact. Never had the bad boy or never had the good looking guy when you're younger, or you chose a guy that based on your self-esteem. Now you've got your body, now you've got your physique. Now you can get these really good guys, right? And I call it the leech of power. It's like you are you are hooked on this power that you haven't had before, and it's causing you to go colloquial. You understand?
I want to model with my man. I want people to be like, they are fine. Damn. Do you see them?
Wow. Alicia said a lot. I love the fact that she is a
Right? So you can't ignore red flags. That's like ignoring red lights. Like, when you're driving. You wouldn't do that if you're a responsible driver. When you are a responsible driver of your life, you have to stop at the red light. Stop at the red light. You know what I mean? That's a grown folk mindset. Kids try to run through lights when they're rebels and they're hooked up on power and trying to break the law. But you are a model citizen. You're grown now. You're more of a mature adult. You obey the land's law. Why? Because you understand the responsibility of the power that you have driving. You can cause a crash if you go for a red light. And that crash will be your life. Okay? And furthermore, it's exasperated by the fact that she said, she had a guy that wasn't too tall. He was kind of short. I want to be very frank. Listen. I got no beef with a woman saying, I don't want to date someone that's shorter than me because I'm quite tall and it makes me feel insecure about my tallness and stuff like that. I get it. It makes sense. Like I'm not gonna kick against that. It's the way that you deliver the message. You delivered it with pride. I had to kick a guy to the curb because it's too short, because I want to make sure that everyone looks at me and looks at the fact that we're a great couple and that we're a stunning couple. Have you noticed, again, all your energy is in what they are thinking. You haven't changed. You haven't changed. You're still thinking the world cares. We don't give a chalet. The man that was in your school class that was laughing at you, even when he sees you now, even when he sees you now as a grown-ass woman, sexy looking badders, he'll think, yeah, you're badders. I might want to sleep with you, but I still don't care for you. They don't care. Listen, trying to prove to people out there, they do not care. Yeah? So understand that you trying to prove this point that, you know, I need to meet looking the best, etc., etc. It means you focus all your energy on the wrong area. You've not focused it internally. Yeah? What are the intrinsic attitudes and values? What's the intrinsic attributes that this man needs to help support your life and make your life a better life than you would have had, you know, dating someone else who was poor? And when I say poor, as in poor in mentality, poor in, you know what I mean? So the focus on the exterior talks to me about your self-esteem still. You're still on a low self-esteem, unfortunately. I hope she watches that and doesn't get offended. What I mean by that is that you're still focusing on a old school wavelength. You've got to come out of that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I do understand it though. You know, you want to be able to look your best and feel your best and be at your best. But the truth of the matter is, you know, you've got to be able to mature and say, what is good for me? Ignoring red flags is not good for me. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. Comment down below what you thought as well. And let's have a conversation. Appreciate you guys. Yes, Captain.